Hey guys, it's Jim, welcome back to the channel, and it is time for another requested review. This is from John. I am actually stopping requests from this video onwards. I will do them at some point again, but they are stopping for now, just because I'm focusing on other things, focusing on going a different direction with the channel. I really enjoyed doing them, and I really appreciate everyone who has obviously sent in requests, but they are stopping for now. But John has requested the Eiger Sanction, which is a 1975 Clint Eastwood movie. Clint Eastwood's, again, just keep finding movie after movie after movie. Ones I didn't even know about. I had not heard remotely of the Eiger Sanction when John requested this. I'm like, what is the Eiger Sanction? And it's yet another Clint Eastwood movie I didn't know about, and yet another great Clint Eastwood movie. This is the closest Clint Eastwood has ever got to James Bond. This is basically a Clint Eastwood James Bond movie. Quite literally, that's what it is. Obviously with that Clint Eastwood dirty, raw twist, almost seediness. So Eastwood plays an ex-assassin for the government who is lured back in for another job. And that's basically it, blackmailed into another job, and he does what he does best. He's an assassin, he's obviously a spy. And, he goes along the way, meets colourful characters, meets beautiful women, gets into situations. It's James Bond. The movie's fun, like a James Bond movie, but there's also a lot of reality in that. There's a lot of darkness in here as well. But overall, it's a fun movie, but it's James Bond dipped in some Clint Eastwood savagery. I mean, where this is like a James Bond film, but also different in a lot of ways. Starting off with Clint Eastwood's character, Hemlock's boss, the Dragon, who is an albino who's being kept alive by blood transfusions. Bloody mental. This is insane. Like the scene where he sees him in this weirdly lit David Lynch type room where he's telling him his assignment is creepy as hell. And then when he sees him again and he's literally in a hospital bed being kept alive. I mean, this is insane. And then you find out that this character, played by Eiger David, was also an ex-Nazi. Yeah, as much as Bond got frustrated with M at times, this is M if he was a nutter. Now, there were times when Clint Eastwood was in talks to play James Bond. There was a time when he was considered for the role. And this, for me, is what it would have been like if he'd have done it. Obviously, Clint Eastwood can't really be James Bond. He's not British. He's not that style. But this is basically, if you had Clint Eastwood play James Bond, this is what you want. It's a dirtier, rawer kind of Bond. This is kind of like the License to Kill Bond, the Timothy Dalton Bond. Just Clint Eastwood is dark as hell in his portrayal, but he's also cool as hell, sophisticated as hell. He conducts himself like James Bond in this. I really do think that. So Hemlock's main mission is to climb a mountain and assassinate a member of the other side who is also climbing a bloody mountain. I've heard a lot of people say that the climbing sequences are only the entertaining parts of this film. I disagree. I love seeing Clint Eastwood kind of globetrot and go from here to there, meeting colourful characters along the way. George Kennedy is a great character as an old friend of Hemlock who has to get him back into shape for the climb. Jack Cassidy as Miles Miller is a great foil for Clint Eastwood. And he reminds me of a James Bond character. You can imagine this guy popping up in Bond. He's colourful, he's strange, he's weird, but he is a threat.
I've grown very tired of waiting for you to step up behind me one day and relieve me of existing.
Stepping up behind is your method, Miles. I want to look right into your face.
Yes, I'm sure you would.
Hemlock also meets an agent called Jemima who becomes a romantic interest, played by Vonetta McGee. And she was great in this. She's really, really good. Again, you get that Bond girl. She's a Bond girl. She comes in, helps him, then they kind of fall out a bit, and then they team up again, and he regains his feelings for her. It unfolds like a Bond girl. And then there's also a femme fatale in this. There's everything you get. So it's all the ingredients of Bond. And I just loved seeing that. It was something that I never thought I'd see, which is Clint Eastwood almost making a Bond film. But I just love how they pretty much use the tropes. There's car chases, there's fights. There's assassins, it's all that sort of stuff. And Eastwood's character is basically James Bond if he gave a crap about what he was doing. Because Eastwood's character of Hemlock approaches what he's doing. He actually he actually says why he wants to quit and leave this life. Because it's not all glamour and glitz. He is an assassin. He doesn't like the fact that he's a murderer, essentially.
Let me tell you something I'm sure you're not aware of, Aunt Jemima. You know what purpose these sanctions serve? Absolutely none at all. They're just retaliation. They kill one of ours, we kill the killers. No purpose at all, just barbaric.
You're getting religion a little late.
I didn't quit because of religion. I quit because of mathematics.
Oh?
That's right. The odds are stacking up against me. Assassins who stay too long wind up assassinated, and that ain't in my game plan.
There's also great lines from Clint Eastwood about who is really bad when it comes to these governments fighting each other. It is a film about grey areas. It is a film about what constitutes evil on the other side. Just because they're on the other side and we have our morals and value system, they'll have theirs and they'll have reasons they're doing what they're doing. So who's really good? And it's about how he's become jaded with his commanders, about how he's become jaded with having to kill for our side when he doesn't even know if that's truly the good side.
And you don't see any difference between their side and our side?
Yeah, I see a difference. But as long as we have dragons and popes working for us, how bad can the other side be?
I'd like to see an actual Bond film go like this. You know, it's kind of like Bond with a bite, Bond with an honesty. You know, Bond's looking at the true dilemma that his life really is. And you could say, well, how can you call this a James Bond movie? Because obviously it culminates with a climbing sequence. Well, have you seen For Your Eyes Only? For Your Eyes Only has a climbing sequence at the end. It reminded me of that as well. This climbing sequence is wonderful. There are several moments where your heart is in your mouth. It's incredibly tense. Hemlock has to trust other members and work with them, and they might be trying to set him up, they might not, and he has to decide whether he wants to save these people's life if they end up in trouble. There is one point where he does save one of them. That's a really, really well done, good scene which shows the good heart inside of Hemlock. And, you know, there's one scene where Hemlock ends up in trouble and the music kind of stops, and it's a real, you feel like you're there in that situation with him. It's a real edge of your seat scene. It really is. Clint Eastwood deserves huge respect as a director for that scene. It's tense stuff, suspenseful stuff. The Eiger Sanction is just a really entertaining movie. It's got constant Clint Eastwood one-liners, almost filtered through a James Bond spin as well. It's got really cool, great visuals and cinematography and compelling climbing scenes. It's got a great fast pace. It's just got Clint Eastwood doing what he does best, being that charisma-filled machine that you could just watch in any situation. I love seeing him as a spy, I love seeing him in westerns, I love seeing him in war films. Clint Eastwood can do it all, and it's just another testament to the guy that I've discovered another movie. Thanks very much, John, for suggesting it. Another movie where he's great, you know, his performances are never gigantically different, but he fits in all the different roles that he did, even though he's playing it as Clint Eastwood a lot of the time. But there's a new dimension of it because he's always a different profession in the film, and he works as all of them. It's just a great joy to watch. Thank you for this request, John. I really enjoyed it. You guys need to watch this movie. Watch every Clint Eastwood movie, but watch The Eiger Sanction. It is great, an underrated gem. Obviously, I'm stopping requests for now. I will start them up at some point in the future. But thanks for watching, everyone. I will see you guys next time.